And now we wanted to highlight some bike setup on a downhill bike and also some of the differences in, what you would set up and how things are set up. So the biggest difference you can see is just that this downhill bike is going to have a triple clamp fork, and that bar height that we were talking about is really going to be kind of adjusted by raising the forks through the triple clamps, but that's also going to do something else, which is lower down the frame.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences that can be done here. Like obviously, like you say, the triple clamp looks a lot different. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot stiffer. It's got 200 mil of travel rather than like a 160, 170, but the adjustment's much more. But when you're adjusting a downhill bike, it will adjust the head angle and all sorts of things when you go up and down. So we also do have spaces under here, but that's a huge thing that I battle with to this day, and still a lot of people, is trying to get your front end height set on a downhill bike right, because maybe on a steeper track, I will have it high, like think about your bike, the steeper it goes down a hill, the higher my bar are, I'm kind of leveling out the hill a bit more. So that's kind of nice. And if your bar's too low again, your hands are gonna get fatigued more, they're gonna get real tired, they're gonna be hitting the bumps. So it's such a thing as well with, do I want traction? Do I want my hands not to be tired? Whatever it is, but so much adjustment goes on in the front end here.
Yeah, and Bernard mentioned that head angle, the more slack, right? So the further in front of the handlebars the wheel is, the more slack, the less angle you have in this. This is what we call the head angle, the head tube. And that's going to give you, more stability, right? Like on a really fast track, on a really rough track, you can have a slacker head angle, or even some bikes are more slack than the others. But on a tighter track, you're going to be able to turn a lot more. The bike is going to feel really flicky and maneuverable, but sometimes it can feel like skittish.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, if we drop the forks through it, it's going to steepen the head angle, make the wheelbase a tiny bit shorter, and you can really just get around some tight turns slightly quicker. So it's finding a balance of either what you prefer, there's a lot of personal preference again, or what the trail requires. So mine's kind of set up in the middle, but I do have quite a high bar. You can see I run a 30 mil across all my bikes, but a slightly wider bar on my downhill bike on the top. So slightly higher front end than an Enduro or trail bike, and a slightly wider handlebar. But yeah, that's the main differences, I guess, in the front end.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you can even see that downhill bike is raised up a little bit, but one of the things that you have to take into account is how much sag you're running.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the bigger fork and more travel, we're going to have a tiny bit more sag on there because we've got more travel to blow through, but a stiffer bike also.
One question I get asked a lot is like, when do you need a downhill bike? Especially because enduro bikes have gotten so good over the years, and a lot of the stuff that used to be downhill bike worthy is now enduro bike worthy. So I mean, like for you, Bernard, when do you kind of pull out your downhill bike?
Yeah, like you say, an enduro bike now is so capable and good. It is only the rare occasion, or like a super high speed and rough trail, where you need a downhill bike. Like you'll see today when we go out in Laguna, some of the trails you can still ride them on an enduro bike, but if you really want to hit big gaps or the rock sections really fast, the extra travel, the slacker head angle really comes into play. So yeah, I guess we'll head out onto the trail and see when you really need a downhill bike over an enduro bike, and when all the extra travel, the stiffness, the slackness is going to come into play and really make your day more enjoyable and just work a lot better.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's kind of like a confidence thing, right? Like how much like a downhill bike or more travel in general is like gonna give you more confidence, as you'll see on some of the gaps.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely these are a very confidence inspiring machine. Sometimes maybe a bit too much, depending on your skill level, but
get you into trouble.
Yeah, they can get you into trouble real quick, but also get you out of it. They've got more travel, they're stiffer, they're bigger, so we'll go out and see.